There are discrepancies in the speech and gestures of Ilham Aliyev, Grigor Badalyan, a communication psychologist said, studying the October 4 message of the President of Azerbaijan. It is an international practice to study the body language through which experts determine the truth of what a person is lying or saying by comparing verbal and non-verbal communication. The psychologist said Aliyev was announcing one thing and testifying to another with his body language. These discrepancies in sign language indicate that the person is in a state of stress. For example, he is talking about something that is stressful for him, or most likely does not believe in his words. As the psychologist noticed, throughout the message, Aliyev changed his verbal behavior 8 times. Maybe he was constrained by the cameras. The psychologist gives the real reason. In that case, the feeling of discomfort should have passed gradually or be constantly the same. This is not the case. His behavior is changing. Behavior changes occur when a person does not believe in his words. We stopped the attempt by the Armenians to falsify our history and destroy our cultural and historical heritage. For example, Ilham Aliyev claims that history is being falsified by Armenians, at the same time displaying behavior in which he questions what he says. This is the first change that takes place, cleaning the throat and this movement. For a non-specialist, this may be the ordinary micro-movements, but for an expert, there are great information sources, Badalyan explains. In particular, we saw 2 signs of stress. The first, he has a cough, cleaning the throat. During stress, usually the amount of water in person, any living organism, decreases and the person has to clear the throat, lips, etc. In particular, this is one of his manifestations. The second change we saw was the oscillating movement of his body. Professionals say this is a limbic escape, which means the person wants to leave the environment. Next, Ilham Aliyev announces the seizure of military equipment by the Azerbaijani armed forces. The body language proves again that the information is false. Especially the moment when he says that they have seized our equipment, at that moment he opens his hand and then closes it. If somebody believes in his words, they show their hand closed, but if he does not believe, he unconsciously opens his hand. Such manifestations show that a person does not believe in his words. And every time Aliyev shows the same manifestations when expressing historical territory. Most probably he provides information he doesn't believe. Aliyev's message makes the expert think that the president of Azerbaijan has problems with his own people. We can conclude that there is probably a certain gap between the president and his own people. They can be internal conflicts, disagreements. The people do not trust them and they know about it. When he speaks about his own people, we see that he is again experiencing a change in non-verbal behavior. That is, there are signs of anxiety, stress and tension. The expert emphasizes the part of Ilham Aliyev's message that contains the most stressful signs. This is the part where he declares that they will win.
Qarabağ bizimdir, Qarabağ Azerbaycandır.
In this message, Aliyev says they are winning and Karabakh is Azerbaijan. We saw some important changes. He lowered his eyes, he pressed his lips. They do that during stress. It is an unconscious reaction. When somebody presses lips, it means they don't believe in something and they are in discomfort. Second, he takes away his sight. It means there is a visual blocking. This happens when we don't want to see something. Next, he pulls back. We call it limbic escape. He wants to run away. Another change is that he brings his fists together. Altogether, these signs show that Aliyev does not believe the idea that they will win and Karabakh is Azerbaijan. The revelation made by the psychologist in the last year, Aliyev's behavior has changed during this period. He began to copy the president of Turkey.